not the one so far away. When I feel the snake bite enter my veins, never did I wanna be here again, and I don't remember why I came.
I had stated earlier that I was looking for an atheist message, website, YouTube video, whatever, that doesn't use a standard of making fun of religion attitude, because I am against that. And if you're just an atheist just to make fun of Christians, you're wrong. If you've actually thought it out, then by all means think what you want. Now, I've asked, at the end of this video, I asked people to find me atheist locations where they're not doing this, and someone had shown me the Atheist Experience videos, and I found a couple on YouTube, and I was watching one, and someone had brought up the Watchmaker argument. The Watchmaker argument being, if you were walking along and you looked down in the sand and you saw a watch and picked it up, you would instantly recognize that somebody had made this being a complex machine. An intelligence had to create this. And then we look at ourselves and say, well, we are a super complex machine, therefore somebody created us.
Basically, the argument is if you find this watch lying on a beach, you instantly recognize, because of its complexity and sense of purpose, that it was in fact intelligently designed.
The main person, I don't know his name, but the main guy in the Atheist Experience show gave a counterpoint, and that was, the argument was that, well, then looking at the sand, you would know that every grain of sand is a watch because God made it. And he went on further to say that human beings are a natural occurring thing. That's a paraphrase, but what he means to say that human beings just evolved naturally.
And the occurring naturally is the key element. Humans occur naturally. Animals occur naturally. Rocks occur naturally. Buildings and watches don't. That if you draw your analogy, your watchmaker analogy, out to its logical conclusion, that there is a God and he created the universe and everything in it. Then in reality, he also created the grains of sand on that beach, and therefore you are walking along a beach full of watches next to an ocean full of watches and a stream and a tree made of watches.
Both of these statements are false. The watch is a complex machine. What is it? It is made of much smaller components, and those components are made of raw materials, and they are refined. Not unlike us. We started out as raw material. Each one of us has the same material in us that was once in a star or some other body. They have just been rearranged. They have been refined. We are a complex network of parts, each one supporting the other, same as a watch. Saying that each grain of sand is a watch is wrong. Each grain of sand is a component. It is even a raw material in that component. The watch would be the solar system or our galaxy in general. Take a look at our galaxy from the far away position, and you see it's just like a clock, and it spins around in a circle. It has its own workings. Remove one component and there'll be a little chaos on that side. If you took a spring out of a watch or took out a mechanism out of the watch, it would stop functioning correctly. The solar system, either being the solar system itself, could be another watch or a component in the galaxy. And the Earth is definitely a component, and this component is made up of raw materials. This analogy is flawed, the components being water, sand, air, the sun keeping it warm. You're indicating a lot of things here that you're just taking for granted. To start with, you're suggesting that if a deity were to create something to populate a world, he would have to make robots. This is an assumption that you're automatically making, and therefore it is false. a deity, if he was going to make human beings, they would be natural creatures, wouldn't they? We could create robots one day that think on their own and build their own robots, and therefore they would be occurring naturally, wouldn't they? Because they would make themselves, they would think for themselves, and they wouldn't need us anymore. They could create their own stuff. They could create their own copies of themselves without us. Therefore, robots would become naturally occurring creatures, wouldn't they? You're also suggesting that we can create Earth after Earth after Earth using this Earth as a control to see if humans evolve naturally on those Earths as well. That will never happen, so you've assumed that the human beings on this world have just naturally occurred, just through evolution. Evolution does not contain the words "God didn't do it." That is just a tag that you've conveniently put on that argument. Now, indeed, solar systems themselves may be naturally occurring. The universe may have already been here. We don't know. If you're going to start Big Banging it, the Big Bang is wrong too, because one mighty explosion creating everything. Explosions go out. Explosions do not go around in a circular motion. Which, if you look at our galaxy, this is what happened. If you look at our own solar system, this is what happened. What got the solar system into motion? We'll never know. We are fortunate to have a planet that has atmosphere, and this atmosphere filters out the harmful rays of the sun, aren't we? We are very fortunate for all these things for us to exist. Even our own sun has a magnetic force field of sorts that keeps extra debris out of it. Meaning, it's our own little system of rocks, and that's it. No outside influences are allowed to come in. We already have enough inside influences. We are very fortunate for that also. There's just too many variables that are just super fortunate for us, and therefore you've grown comfortable into thinking that everything is just naturally occurring. There is no way to test this. You are more than the sum of your parts.
I'm not the one who's so far away. I'm not the one who's so far